Hello everybody, today we're going to talk about one of the best if not strangest shows ever featured on Cartoon Network and deep dive into the irregularity that is Regular Show. Starting off, we're going to review season 1 and explain exactly why I think this show deserves so much praise. Regular Show was created by J.G. Quintel for Cartoon Network. It ran from September 6, 2010 to January 16, 2017. Over the course of 8 seasons and 261 episodes, I quite literally went through my middle and high school years watching the show, and Regular Show is probably the best example. If something literally can go wrong, it will. Literally anything is possible from the show. And I think there was a certain level of creative freedom that really drew me in when I was viewing it when I was younger. You would think that these episodes kind of were presented in a more episodic feature, but over the course of Regular Show, a line of continuity starts piecing together. The series stars Mordecai, a blue jay, Rigby, a raccoon, their co-worker Skip's an immortal yeti, Pops, a lollipop-shaped guy, Muscle Man and High Five Ghost, and their boss Benson, a literal gumball machine. All of whom work at the local park as groundskeepers. Mordecai and Rigby spend their days like most 20-something-year-olds who work at a dead-end job, slacking off and trying to entertain themselves for the most part, which often leads to surrealistic, extreme, and supernatural events. That truly sets this animated sitcom aside from any other, but from any other show of its time. At one moment, it's something simple like going to pick up leaves off the ground and suddenly the leaves are sentient and starting a rebellion against their oppressive overlords that are the rakes. But anyway, today we're starting with season 1. As I plan to go through and feature my favorite episodes from every season, rating them and summing them up over the course of this series. Quickly, I'll let you guys know my rating system. I have a nostalgia factor with this show that I'll try and tone down for the sake of scoring, but on a scale of 1 out of 10, anything above a 7 either featured a great premise or ties into the line of continuity that I'll be pointing, and any episodes not listed fell below the rating to even be shown, so without further ado, let's get regular. Episode 1, Space Moon Larceny. In the very first episode, we get to witness Mordecai and Rigby at their goofiest essentially, and it's a great introduction to the series as it features not only the two iconics' rhyme and song making skills, but also when we see this escalate to a gigantic battle on the surface of the literal moon. And even in episode 1, we already kind of get to see that the two aren't the best workers, and Rigby tries to remedy that with a magical keyboard that he stole from a wizard, but still as a pilot, it sets the tone throughout the entire series. Rating? 8 out of 10. Not that regular. Episode 2, Occult Arcade Battles and Setting Up the Chairs. In episode 2, we see the park crew come together to set up a rather terrible birthday party, with Mordecai and Rigby being tasked with setting up the chairs. The two ultimately don't have enough chairs and have to get more out of the storage, where they find several old arcade machines and of course proceed to slack off mainly due to Rigby's irresponsible nature, and after ignoring what we find was actually a note from Skips, unleash a video game devil known as the Destroyer of Worlds on the park, which results in an epic battle between them and the Burger Man. The main thing I'd like to note here is this episode features the first time in the series where it shows off Skip's seemingly infinite knowledge of the world and Handy always fix it like nature. Rating? 8 out of 10. We're not slackers. Episode 3, Fist Pumping for Coffee and Birth of Mordecai the Simp God. In episode 3, we get a glimpse in the first of a long series of degrading simp-like behavior from Mordecai. And pausing the video for a second, we're going to talk about and define what is simping. Simping is when you lower your value or worth and place another individual on a pedestal who doesn't recognize or acknowledge your actions or you. Perfect example in this modern day, people that send women streamers thousands of dollars and get angry and malicious when that streamer, I don't know, has a husband or a boyfriend. Mordecai displays this when, despite Rigby's excitement to attend a fist pump concert, Mordecai acts as if it's beneath him, only to notice Margaret is going and suddenly it's his favorite band ever. And this in and of itself isn't simping. The resulting Mordecai doing extra chores and work, even fighting an odd duo of an Asian man and a coffee bean, just to get the money for the tickets, to have an excuse to be around her, none of this for Rigby, none of this for the sake of hard work or making extra money, but all for the sake of Margaret, a red bird who chronically always has a boyfriend. Rating 5 out of 10. Simpin' ain't it. Episode 4, Intro to Def Quando and Rigby's Punchies Insecurity. In episode 4, we bear witness to the greatness that is Def Quando, a martial art that features exaggerated speaking, mullets, and cut-off jean shorts. Mordecai and Rigby have traditionally played a game called Punchies, where the two strike each other and the one who hits hardest wins. Mordecai, towering over Rigby, clearly always wins. And this leads to Rigby to seek out the secrets of Def Quando and learn the Death Punch. Still the Death Punch, which was probably the coolest shit my teenage mind had ever seen. Rigby then goes on to abuse this power and subjugate the park and all of his co-workers into pseudo-slavery while looking for Mordecai. Mordecai, witnessing this, decides to go on to learn the ways of death quando and masters the death block. And the funny part about this is both of them technically stole the techniques, which leads to the sensei's great anguish. And then the two battle, and after literally punching into magma and being hard countered, Rigby breaks down about never being able to win at punches. This extends to him never being able to get a say in their decisions, upon which Mordecai does bro move and loses to Rigby, then revealing he has other stolen techniques. And the death jump is what saves the two from death by magma. Well, it was either that or the death dump, and I don't know what that would have been like. Rating 9 out of 10. Death Quan Gold. Episode 5. Immortality and Free Cake. In episode 5, Rigby and Mordecai are apparently so broke they can't even afford a $1.50 box of cake mix. So they go out trying to score some free cake, eventually convincing Benson to throw Skips a birthday party. Unknowingly, they interrupt Skip's immortality ritual and end up getting a one-way ticket to meeting the regular show god, shout out Reggie. 5 gigantic, man-like babies, or are they baby-like men? I don't know, but they have cosmic powers and are the reason Skips is immortal. Rigby and Mordecai ultimately having to give up their cake to the gods to, enjoy it, but thankfully Benson had a second cake ready. Rating 9 out of 10. Never skip. Episode 6. Now this one's a little bit different. Mordecai and Rigby's first real fighting hint comes back to their past, and we also get the mass hot dog rebellion / cannibalism. This is one of those episodes, like many regular show episodes, that takes a normal problem and makes it into a literal phenomenon. But the deeper meaning here was this was the first real nod to the unspoken tension between Mordecai and Rigby. Mordecai exclaiming that Rigby ruins everything, and this is preluding to his likely art college years where Rigby crashed in his dorm. Rating 7 out of 10. Just another regular day. Episode 7. All that for a grilled cheese. This is one of the few episodes I don't have a lot to say about. Rigby and Mordecai eat Benson's grilled cheese on the lie that Rigby told, and that prompts them to have to go to Cheezer's for a replacement, and this leads to a series of other lies that make the duo masquerade as astronauts and almost destroy literal existence with a dark matter accident. But because, as we know, one lie turns into many, and eventually you find yourself living a literal lie. Rating 6 out of 10. Liars never win. Episode 8 was the unicorn episode, and outside of how they shot them out of the sky at the end, the episode wasn't really that good for me. Just raunchy dude bro comedy. Rating 4 out of 10. Totally not broing right now. Episode 9. Phone Wars. In Prank Callers, Mordecai and Rigby return to childhood and start prank calling people, eventually pranking the wrong caller, who turns out to be a literal phone and has the magical ability that his pranks become real, teleporting the two back to the 80s, because you know, the 80s called. They want this reference back. And leading them to ultimately pranking the prank master, who in the end was just like them, a guy looking to get some pranks in. Rating 6.5 out of 10. Ring ring hello. Episode 10. Rigby's hate of his awesome brother. In episode 10, the park gets audited because Pops tries to pay taxes with lollipops, which leads to Don, Rigby's younger brother, arriving. And throughout Rigby's life, his brother always shined more than him, usually taking attention and friends from Rigby, when in reality, Don actually idolized his brother and did everything he could to get Rigby to like him. This being a good nod to Rigby's relationship with those around him, as he's often trying to one-up or award the little authority he has over other people in a way that I guess helps him manage his insecurity. Rating 9 out of 10. Death, Taxes, and Rigby. Episode 11. Birth of the Mordecai Cringe Meme. In episode 11, Mordecai and Rigby are assigned work duty at the concession stand and, as you'd imagine, eat their fill of processed junk food. Mordecai, being slightly more sensible than Rigby, eats a salad to refresh his body, but Rigby just keeps shoveling metaphorical garbage and eventually loses his body to his own stomach, which, by the way, is a very good metaphor for not letting yourself go. And overall, this episode kinda just paints like a decent, I guess, health metaphor. Rating 7 out of 10. Never trust your gut. And finally, for everybody that's managed to stick around to the end of this, go ahead and leave a like and comment what have you thought about the episodes that went down during season 1. What did they present to you? But without further ado, episode 12, dubbed Mordecai and the Rigby's, where once again, after committing to a terrible lie that they were in a band which was originally a joke purchased from a night of drinking, I guess, sodas. Wait, This is actually a good time to give Regular Show its props on showing adult concepts like smoking and drinking, but not involving the substances. And as this goes on, with the dreaded amateur musician open mic night approaching, the two attempt to learn how to play guitar and end up creating a record player time machine and summon their future superstar selves. I know, just keep following along, like how did one become two, but anyway. The artist versions of themselves are frauds who actually didn't teach them how to play instruments, just how to look and rock the act of a performer, and they somehow managed to pull it off. Psych. They were literally lip syncing and playing along to nothing. Wrapping up, this kind of does lead back to not only most of the first season when it comes to Mordecai and Rigby's actions of slacking off, but at least Mordecai, still being the sensible one, notices this and wards them away from having to deal with this fraudulent activity. Season 1 is actually a pretty good first season for a show, especially on Cartoon Network and given its subject audience. I would definitely say that while some episodes were definitely more random, they always tried to sneak in some type of character development for their various characters and how they act throughout the series. And moving on, we'll be getting to season 2 on the next video, everybody. Going ahead, we're gonna wrap this up. Like I said, there may be some outlier moments or specific scenes from season 1. If there's anything I missed, please leave a comment down below and let me know. Maybe they'll get featured on the next episode. Thanks for watching.